The ambitions and determination of women of the past have paved the way for women in today's society. One of these women was Jeannette Rankin, and she was the first woman to serve in the United States Congress. As a young woman in today's society, I can see the effects women like Jeannette Rankin worked so hard to achieve for women in the United States and for peace around the world. Many of these improvements are having women run for office in every branch of government, pacifist organizations that benefited many people around the world, and now there are many scholarship funds set up for women to help them with furthering their education. Jeannette Rankin succeeded in many aspects of her life. These achievements include, but are not limited to, her groundbreaking accomplishments in politics, national and international social welfare, and her foundation that helps low-income women further their education with scholarships. Jeannette Rankin paved the way for women to run for office in the United States. She was the first woman to be elected to Congress in 1916 in the state of Montana. When Congress voted on whether they should enter World War I, she voted against it, which ended up costing her a re-election in 1918. In her second term in 1941, she served with 6 other women in Congress. She was an active member of the women's suffrage movement and helped pass the bill to allow women to vote in Montana in 1914. Her being elected to Congress was a huge success for the women's suffrage movement and showed that it was possible for women to do anything that they set their mind to. Also, it gave a positive outlook to the public about having women serve in Congress. Jeannette Rankin was quite passionate about national and international social welfare. Even during her second term in Congress, she voted against the United States entering World War II. In fact, she was the only member of the House to vote against sending the troops to war because she did not see it as an ethical thing to do. During her political career, she still played the role of pacifist by being part of 3 committees that focused on social welfare. These include Insular Affairs, Public Lands, and Women's Suffrage. Once the United States entered the war, she fought for women's rights to work since most of the men were off fighting and somebody needed to keep the country moving. After her first term ended in 1919, she served as a delegate for the Women's International Conference for Peace in Switzerland. Before she could run for a third term, she died in 1973. Her third term was going to be a protest to entering the Vietnam War. She was a revolutionary politician that voted against both world wars and stuck true to her pacifist ways throughout her life despite what others thought. Jeannette Rankin's legacy lives on through the many voices women have now thanks to her and women like her in the Jeannette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund. This scholarship fund is for women 35 and over that are low income and wanting to further their education. This scholarship fund is everything Jeannette Rankin spoke for by helping those that need help the most. The Jeannette Rankin Women's Scholarship Fund has given over $2.5 million to over 1,000 women since 1976. As a woman in today's society, I am able to vote and have my opinions be heard when I go to the polling booth on Election Day. This would not have been possible if it wasn't for women like Jeannette Rankin, who would stop at nothing to ensure the politicians of their time heard their cry for equal rights. Jeannette Rankin was a voice for those that did not have one. She dedicated her life to ensuring women had the right to have their voices heard and for the world to find peace. World peace may not have happened during her lifetime, but I am hopeful that one day the world can find an end to all the violence. She fought an uphill battle constantly while in Congress to have her voice heard. Even though it was a losing battle most of the time, she stayed true to herself as a pacifist woman, and she is a remarkable person for that. She once said, after being elected into Congress in 1916, "I may be the first woman of Congress, but I won't be the last."